Jai Hind, all of you. Myself Rupak Kumar from IT department. Today we are going to learn a important topic from database management system. That is what the key in RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. It is the one of the important topic we can say from the database, as well as we can say used in many types of programs to fetch the data. So we just learned the one of the important topic. So welcome to the important topics from the database management system. That is what key in relational database management system. So first we come to know the why we need the key for relational database, why it is necessary to have a key in the database. So for this we have a employee table. In this we have a employee ID, we have a name of the employee, we have a SSN number. In India, SSN means we can say it's a Aadhaar number. Then we have a salary of employee, phone number of employee, and email of employee. So this is what the employee table, from which we see that there is a ID of different employee, name of the employee, SSN number, that is what we can say Aadhaar numbers of the employee, salary, phone numbers, and email. In this table we say why we need keys. So if we want to say, if we want to increase the salary of John by 10%, then we can see the things that here is a problem. Why it's so? Because here is a John is several time in this database. So if anyone say that increase the salary of John by 10%, what does this mean? So we see that John's salary increase means the salary of all the three is increase, but we have concerned only with this John. If we want to increase the salary of this John only, then what will be happen? There is 3 John in this table. So we concerned with the things that if we say John from this department may be in one department there may be the 2 John, so that is also not the things. So that's why we need the something like 101 John, 105 John, or 108 John. Which John we concerned? We concerned with the 105 John, as 105 is uniquely defined. So we can say if we increase the salary of 105 John, that it is not other than this John. So this is only concerned with this John. So we can now increase the salary. So this is what we can say. We use the database. We have a keys in RDBMS to solve this types of problem. So now let's come for the. So we can say what is key. So we can say in short, if we uniquely identify the tuples, the key is basically uniquely identify the tuples. So if we say ID is key, then we can see ID will uniquely identify the John from this table. ID can uniquely identify the John. So we can say this is what the uniquely identity that is defined with the help of this key only. Only this is only the key. It may be this is also Aadhaar card is also unique, but name is not unique, so it cannot be a key. Salary may be not unique. Phone number may be unique, it may be a key. Email ID may be a key. So there is a several key in a one table we can see. So we can have uniquely defines the table with the help of that key. So key से हम क्या कर सकते हैं? Uniquely define कर सकते हैं. That's why it is very important in DBMS to uniquely identify our tuples in DBMS to update, delete, or some other work in the table. Next, now definitions of key. How we define the key? Basically, a key is an attribute or set of attributes that uniquely identify any records tuple from the table. So it may be attributes. Key may be a attributes, means single attributes, or we can say it may be a combination set of attributes. It combines the more than one attributes. Next, we can say that's why it's uniquely identify the tuples or any records means tuples from the table. So we can say, in short, key is a attribute or set of attributes that uniquely identify any records or tuple from the table. Clear? What is the purpose? Why we read this key in a DBMS? Because as we know, key is used to uniquely identify any record. If we want to fetch any record from a huge amount of data, or we can say a very big table, then it is very important to have this type of key. So we can say key is used to uniquely identify any records or row of data from the tables. Any row we can find with the help of this. Clear? So what is the purpose for this keys? So if we talk about the purpose of the key, then we can say purpose of the key is that key is used to uniquely identify any records or row data from the table. So it can identify uniquely any records if you want to fetch, or you can say it is also used to establish and identify relationship between tables. As we know, it is a relational database, RDBMS, relational database management system. So we must have relation between the table. There is numerous table is there, and we have to just connect that table. And this is what the key, this is what the unique tuples, unique record, uniquely defined attributes which relates these with one another. So this is also an important thing. Now in this video, we just take an example of employee table. So understand this employee table first. There is an employee ID. That is what? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Next, the name. Name is Aman, Neha, and Bimal. Aadhaar number, as name can be repeated, so it is repeated. Aadhaar number, this is what the Aadhaar number of several employee. Email ID of employee and department of employee. Maybe department number is also same. So this is what we can define. If we say something about Neha, we must have to uniquely identify the Neha, because there is two Neha, Neha 1, Neha 2. But if we want to uniquely identify the things, we can identify with the help of this employee ID. We can identify the Neha with the help of this Aadhaar number, that we are concerning with this Neha only. Then we have a Aadhaar number or email ID. So there is no need that there is only one keys in a table. It may be a several keys. Clear? Now, when we come to concern with the types of key in DBMS, so first we have a super key, and then candidate key, primary key, alternate key, foreign key, composite key. This is what the some basic key from DBMS. So today we come to know all these key. First is concerned with a super key. What is super key? Basically, we can say a super key is a combinations of all possible attributes. Means there is a several attribute that we have in an employee table. So super key is basically combination of all possible attribute which is uniquely identify the rows or tuples in the given relation. So something that is what uniquely identify the row in that given table is called super key. So super key is a maybe a single key or maybe a combinations or all possible combinations as much as जितना भी हम possibility निकाल सकते हैं combined करके हम कोई uniquely identify कर सकते हैं. If we uniquely identify these table with the help of any number of any combinations, single भी हो सकता है, it may be have this one is the one key, it may be have this one is the another key, it may be have this one is the another key, but this may not be key because it is not uniquely identified. But we can take the combinations of these two. Means if we combine name with department ID or with some email ID, then we can say it may be a composition combinations of keys. That's why it can be uniquely defined the things. So if it uniquely defined, then we can say it is a basically a super key. Clear? So what is super key? Basically super key is the combinations of all possible combination of keys from that table. Clear? And it is uniquely identify the things. So super key, we can say super key is a superset of candidate key. Clear? Means if we find the candidate key, it must be find from that super key only. So it is a we can say it is a superset of candidate key. Next, a table can have many super key. जैसे अभी बताया, we clear it that in a table we can have number of super key, and from that super key we find the candidate key. So a super key may have additional attributes that are not needed for uniquely identities. Means a super key may have different additional attributes and that are not need for uniquely identity. Means उसका unique identity हो ना हो, we can combine it and make it as a super key. We can take an example to see this. So we have that same employee table. We have an email ID of employee, name of employee, Aadhaar number of employee, email ID and department of employee. Now we have to find the super key from this employee table. So as we already see here, it is the employee ID is a uniquely defined same. So that's why it is a employee ID is a super key. Second, Aadhaar number. Aadhaar number is also uniquely identify this table. So we can say it is also a super key. Email ID, it is also a super key. So in this table we have a 3 super key. Clear? But not only 3, we can take a combinations of these keys. So if we take a combinations of employee ID, if we take a combinations of employee ID with Aadhaar number, means if we combine Aadhaar number and employee ID, it is also the 4th number. We can have a different key. If we combine Aadhaar number with email, it is also a key. If we combine email ID with employee ID, this is also some another key. So we can have combinations of 2 attributes, or we can have a combinations of more than 2 attributes. Means in this case we have employee ID, Aadhaar number and email ID. This is also combinedly uniquely defined this table. So we can say employee ID, Aadhaar number and email ID is also a super key. Clear? Now we can see, we can take another super key, that is what? Employee ID is combined with name. Employee ID and name is another super key, example of super key. So there is many possible combination. We can have a several combination, but here it is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Only 5 attribute is there. So maximum composition, maximum combination must not be greater than this 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it may be not only 10 super key in this table. It may be several super key. But maximum combination is not greater than this, because this table has only 5 attributes. So we have a combinations or a single attributes defines the keys. So this is what 5 we can say it is not more than 5. तो मैक्सिमम कितना हो सकता है? 5 से ज़्यादा एट्रीब्यूट नहीं हो सकता किसी भी कीज का. for this table, we can say. In another table we can have a different scenario. Clear? So we can see that. Now next is that what is use of this super key, where it is used. It is used to find the candidate key. So what is candidate key? Basically, candidate key is an attribute or a set of an attribute which can uniquely identify a tuple. It is an attribute or set of attribute which is uniquely identify the tuples. Means कैंडिडेट की क्या हो सकते हैं, या तो कोई एट्रीब्यूट्स हो सकता है, और या वी कैन हैव अ कॉम्बिनेशंस ऑफ एट्रीब्यूट. हमने अभी देखा वी हैव अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ एट्रीब्यूट टू find a key. So candidate key is an attribute or set of attribute which can uniquely identify a tuples. So candidate key को कह सकते हैं it is a minimal super key. So candidate key is a minimal super key. Clear? So what is candidate key? It is a minimal super key. Minimal super key क्या मतलब हुआ? What does this minimal super key means? Minimal super key means if we have a three composition of these two, so minimal means its subset. What is the subset of this? Employee ID. And what is the subset of employee ID and Aadhaar number? It is a EMP ID. Another subset is Aadhaar number. This is two subset. If these two subset is also a different key, so this is not a minimal. Minimal means we cannot further these subset of these cannot be have a key. इसका subset key नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर इसका subset key है तो हम कहेंगे it is not a minimal super key. So in this the number 4, that is employee ID and Aadhaar number combinedly not a minimal super key. So it is not a candidate key. Clear? So this is what definition. A candidate key is a minimal super key or a super key with no additional attribute. का कोई additional attributes नहीं होना चाहिए. ठीक है? No redundant attribute means उसके कोई attributes की नहीं होने चाहिए. So कह सकते हैं it is called a minimal super key. It is called a minimal super key because we select a candidate key from a set of super key such that selected candidate key is a minimum attributes or required to uniquely identify the tables. So it is used to uniquely identify the tables, and it is a minimal super key because we can select the candidate key from a set of super keys such that selected key is the minimum attributes required to uniquely identify the table. But in this case we can see this is not a uniquely, this is not a set that is uniquely. इसमें हम कुछ अलग कर देंगे, कुछ सबसेट निकाल लेंगे, तब भी वो की रहेगा, तो इसको हम नहीं कहेंगे दिस इज नॉट अ सुपर कैंडिडेट की. क्लियर? यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं वी हैव अ सेम टेबल. तो हियर इन दिस केस वी हैव अ 3 कैंडिडेट की, employee ID, Aadhaar number and email ID. So we have only 3 candidate key is here. Here is only 3 candidate key, employee ID, Aadhaar number and email ID. But we can see there is a many super key. From this super key, this is what the only which is uniquely identify a minimum numbers, combinations of minimum keys. Minimum key से हमें जो मिल रहा है उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? कैंडिडेट. कैंडिडेट की इज क्लियर. नेक्स्ट इज योर प्राइमरी की. As first we find the combinations of key, then we find the candidate key which is eligible for primary key. So we can say the primary key must be in a table, so it is not null, can never be null. So first we have to find there must not be null value of primary key. So primary key क्या है? Primary key is basically is one of the candidate key chosen by the database designer to uniquely identify the tuples in the relation. So candidate key is uniquely identify the whole tables tuples. So it is the one of the candidate key only. So who decides that it is a primary key? Which one is primary key? So it is there is no any criteria to decide, but only the candidate key must be primary key, and other than it is only the responsibility of database administrator to decide the which one we can choose as a primary key. So a primary key is one of the candidate key chosen by the database designer to uniquely identify the tuples in the relation. First, the important point regarding this is the value of primary key never be null. कभी null नहीं कह सकते, ऐसे नहीं छोड़ सकते. The value, second point is that the value of primary key must always be unique. There not any duplication is there. It must be unique only. Next, the value of primary key can never be changed, that is no updation is possible. In general scenario, we cannot update this primary key. So primary key never be changed. So one of the important point. Next, the value of primary key must be assigned when inserting a record. So the value of primary key, what is the value of primary key? It must be assigned at the time of record is created, when we inserting a record. So a relation is always to have only one prime key. किसी भी रिलेशन में, किसी भी रेशनल टेबल्स के अंदर प्राइमरी की एक होगा, वन एंड ओनली वन, and that is what decided by the database administrator from the candidate key. So only candidate key is eligible key for primary key, and it is decided by the administration of database only. Clear? Next. So in this table we have only one primary key, and that primary key is employee ID. It is not necessary that we can have an employee ID is primary key. It is the decision of the administrator which one is primary key. It is not decided this is only the primary key. We can take the primary key as an Aadhaar number also. In many places we can see Aadhaar number is a primary key. Next, email ID is also uniquely defined. Throughout the world, the email ID of every person, every same name, same number, same house, but the email ID is uniquely defined. So email ID is also eligible for primary key. But in this scenario, department ID is not in this table. Department ID may be a primary key in another table, but in this it is not a primary key. It is not eligible for primary key. It is not eligible for primary key. These three are only eligible for primary key, and it is decided by the administrator to which one is the primary key for his or her table. Clear? Next, alternate key. What is alternate key? First we find the super key, means combinations of all. Then we have a selected, or we can have uniquely identifies key or minimal key, that is what candidate key. Then we find primary key from that selected candidate key, that minimal candidate keys, and now we have a alternate key. So out of all candidate key, only one gets selected as a primary key and remaining key are as a alternate key. जो भी इसमें बचा, जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये और ये, these three is eligible for primary key, but we do not, in this table we have only one primary key. Then this Aadhaar number, this email ID, it is also eligible for primary key, but in this table it is only the alternate key. Clear? यहाँ पे क्या है, ये alternate key है. तो if we define the alternate key, out of all candidate key, only one gets selected as a primary key. Remaining key are known as a alternate key. Clear? So in the implied table, email ID is the best suited for the primary key and it is chosen by the database administrator. So next means rest of the attributes like Aadhaar number, email ID, which is a candidate key, are considered as a alternate key. So this is what the definitions of alternate key. Clear? Till now we just complete the 4 of the keys. Clear? Next, so this is what shown in the table, primary key, and these two are alternate key. So Aadhaar number and email ID in this table is basically alternate key. Clear? Now, what is foreign key? It is also one of the important key from RDBMS. So when we, why we say RDBMS only? Because when we combines more than 2 tables or more than 1 table, 2 tables, then we need to find the relation between one table to another table. So this is what the best suited key which relate the one tables from another. So foreign key is the reference, the foreign key is the basically references the primary key of the table. It is what the that refers the primary key of one table to other table. So foreign key can take only those values which are present in the primary key of the referenced relation, which is present in the primary key only. So foreign key may have a name other than that of primary key. Foreign key can take the null value. So there is no restrictions on a foreign key to be a unique. So there is no any restriction. यानी चूंकि as primary key not null, but foreign key can take as a null value. No need to define the foreign key in your table. So there is no restrictions of a foreign key to be a unique. Foreign key may not be unique. It is a key only define or refer to the other table. Clear? So in fact, foreign key is not a unique. Most of the time it may not be have a unique key, and we can say if we have a referenced relations may also be called as a master table or a primary table. So if we have a referenced relations from one table to another, then we can say the master table or primary table to that. There is one master table and the key is related from one table to another. So referencing relation may also be called as the foreign tables. Some attribute which is referred to other tables. We can understand it with the help of this table. Now we have a implied table. This is what the referencing relation. Same table is here. If we say this is what the primary key we taken in this table and this is what the foreign key. Why it is foreign key? As we see the department, number of department is unique. So we can find or we can create another table which defines the department ID and department name, which this is what the unique. So in this table department ID is a primary key, but in this table it is not a primary key. ये primary key नहीं है, लेकिन इसमें ये primary key है क्योंकि ये क्या कर रहा है, department ID is just only showing the name of the department with ID. So but this is what we can say, it is the foreign key in a other table, in a referencing table. This is what the referencing table, this is what the referenced table. So to understand foreign key, we have two tables there. One is referencing table which references the foreign key, another is your referenced relation. The foreign key is the foreign key of one table is primary key of other table. So foreign key in this table it is not a uniquely defined. So this is what we can say the scenario of foreign key. What is foreign key? Clear? So foreign key, in short, we can say foreign key is basically reference the primary key of the tables. and foreign key can take only those value which are present in the primary key of the referenced relation. So foreign key may have a name other than that of primary key. So foreign key can take a null value, but primary key cannot be a null. So there is no restrictions on a foreign key to be a unique. So in fact, foreign key is not a unique most of the time. Clear? This is what the table we can see how foreign key is related, how referencing table is related with a referenced relation with the foreign key and primary key. Now last is your composite key. Basically composite key is the key that has more than one attribute, or we can say it is a combination, it is a composition. It is known as composite key. It is also known as compound key. इसको compound key भी कहते हैं. So same, we have a customer ID, order ID, product code and product count. So in this table, obviously customer ID is primary key as it is unique, but we can say for every product, for product of customer CO1, C02, C02, C01, customer ID is not primary key in this case. Why it's so? Because we can see that CO2 means customer, one customer means same customer. CO2 is the same customer here. They can order more than one item. The order ID, it is also not unique. Next, product code, it may be different for the same customer. Product count, it may be same for the all customer. So here we can say that there is no any primary key which is uniquely defined the tuples, but we can say we can find it with the help of composite key. Now customer ID and product code, customer ID and product code, when we combined, then we can say it is uniquely defined the things. So composite key in this case is customer ID and product code. We can make more than one composite key, no need that it has only one composite key. Clear? So thank you all of you. This is all about your key.